My name is Samuel Tumiwa. I am a planning and coordination specialist at the Asian Development Bank, and my job is to coordinate ADB's clean energy program and try to increase our lending on clean energy. I've been trying to do more personally to reduce my own carbon footprint and try to do more. Last year, I was able to convince my family to move. We lived in a big house. We had a house of about 700 square meters. And we moved to a small apartment, about 250 square meters. And in the process, we got rid of a lot of our personal belongings. We got rid of a lot of our furniture. And by moving to a smaller place, we use a lot less energy. It's more efficient, and the family's much closer. So we do that a lot. My children are actually very, very interested in climate change. They're also very interested in the environment. And so, they are trying to use less energy. Instead of having the air conditioner on all night, we have the air conditioner on from, let's say, when they go to bed at 8 o'clock at night until 11 o'clock at night. And then we switch it off, and then they sleep with the fan. And it's very difficult sometimes in Manila where it gets really, really hot. But, they're trying. We use less air conditioning during the day and just open the windows. We live on a 40th floor, so there's a good breeze. And so, we're trying to really, really cut our energy usage. One of the things we want to do is become more carbon neutral, also on our travel, but we haven't done that yet, so that'll be the next step. Jakarta this year has not had a dry season. It's been rainy season the whole year round. And the instances of rain is much higher. And so clearly, I think in my personal experience in Indonesia, in Jakarta and Bandung, I see climate change happening with rainfall patterns changing. And, I think it's important that climate change is not just global warming, but it is a changing of patterns. It may be warmer in some places, it may be cooler in others, but it's the whole change of pattern. I see that personally in Jakarta. I think at the higher level, at the macro level, governments need to do something. And often the question is asked, well, what can we do in Asia and the Pacific? And I think that is now a moot point. I think governments in Asia and the Pacific are already doing a lot. China, for example, set a policy to reduce its energy intensity by 20% in 2010. And this year, because they were afraid they weren't going to meet those targets, they shut down 2,000 factories, right? Just to meet these to lower their carbon emissions. That is, if not political will, what is political will? That is very, very strong message. India's share of renewable energy is about 10% of its grid, which is already almost the same size as the renewable energy in the United States, right? So I think governments in Asia are already doing a lot. Yes, they continue to be large emitters of carbon, but we have to look at the per capita carbon emissions also. And these governments are doing much more on a per capita basis than the others. So, the point here is, if you're not already doing something for reducing your carbon emissions, whether the governments are behind, those that aren't doing it are behind. Companies and corporations that are not lowering their carbon emissions are already behind, and they're not going to be as competitive as those that are already doing something. So I think at a personal level, we have to learn about it, we have to share about it, and we have to be committed to it. Governments have to do it. They're already doing a lot, but a lot more can be done. ADB just completed a study. It's called the Asia Energy Outlook. In this study, we say that the clean energy investment needs between now and 2020 is about $10 trillion in the region, okay? The governments are not going to make up a large portion of that. Most of that is going to come from the private sector. So the private sector is going to look, okay, I have $10 million to invest. I can invest this in coal, I can invest this in wind, or I can make a chain of restaurants, or I can make a shoe company. But I need a return on it. Where can I make the best return for the risk? And I think you have to have a business case for it to go. I think most importantly, we're going to move away from large centralized power generation. Right now, where we have large power plants here, and we have long transmission lines to where the power is needed. I think in the next 20, 30 years, you're going to have decentralized power. I think on the roof of most buildings, you're going to have wind machines. In the basements of buildings, you're going to have pyrolysis machines that will take waste and make it into energy. I think vehicles will be different, and I think you're going to have a grid system that's going to take small bits of energy from here and there and be able to distribute it. I think that's where we have to head. I think a lot of energy, a lot of research, and a lot of thinking is going in that direction. And my view, and that's why we have a lot of discussion today on smart grids, on net metering. That's the direction I think it will go. At what speed, I don't know. It depends on innovation. It depends on how much investment we put in. It depends on how much governments are willing to give incentives to do this. But that's how I see the energy sector going in the next 20, 30 years.